Hey y'all, it is Monday. It is Monday, the first Monday in a brand new month. Y'all, it's February. Can you believe it? We are already in the second month of a brand new year, and I'm grateful. How about you? Whether you're watching live right now or you're watching the replay, oh man, I hope you took the time to reflect and release and renew the month during the month of January. At the end of January, I hope you took the time to reflect, release, and renew. I know I forgot, right? I was supposed to put our information on there on our site and on our web page about the steps that we like to take at the end of the month going into a new month, but it's not too late. So look for it. I'm still going to put it up. That way, we'll be prepared by the time we get to the end of the month. What we're going to do as we normally reflect and release and renew for a brand new month. So, welcome to Mondays in the Meditation Room with Dr. K for Midlife Musings. This is that sacred space and place where you will find all things enlightenment and empowerment for Black women in midlife, women who are experiencing the pause that I like to call it, and all of the things that come along with this season in our lives. Welcome. Come on in. This is the space where we are redefining, reimagining, and giving birth to who we are, our best iteration of ourselves in this season. You get to give yourself permission in this season of your life to redefine what midlife is. It is not the end. We're not headed to a rocking chair. This is the season where we come into our own, where we grab a hold of the opportunities that life has afforded us, where we walk into a greater level of awareness of who we are and confidence in God and in ourselves and in who God called us to be in this moment. In other words, we become enlightened. That we think differently, our consciousness is different. We get to reimagine what our life could be outside of what everybody else has told us our life should be and who we should be. After prioritizing everything and everybody except for us, we get to reimagine what our life could be. Isn't that wonderful that you have the opportunity to redefine and reimagine your life? And what we also say here is that during this season, we realize that so many people are not talking about it, but thank God more and more people and more platforms are presenting the opportunity for us to talk about this season, all that it brings. So you don't think you're on this journey all by yourself, right? So this is the place where we want to normalize the conversation, destigmatize our reproductive selves, right? And our reproductive systems as women. And we get to and decolonize our health and our well being. And so it's a great opportunity. It's a great space for us as we gather together as women. So welcome. Glad that you are here. I'm just having some fun on my StreamYard platform, doing stuff that I hadn't done in a long time, right? Putting up the pictures and having a wonderful time being able to say, hey, welcome. We're just glad that you're here. Go ahead and text another sister, invite them into the room with you. Don't be the only one that comes in the room to get the help that we need during this season of our lives. Drop a note in the chat, even if in the comments, and even if you are um, watching the replay, you can still comment. We go back, and when other women go back and read it, your comments, your insight, your input, your wisdom helps, because this is a community of women, and we're here to encourage and share our stories, be transparent, be vulnerable, because that openness helps other sisters, because you might think you're the only one, or somebody may be thinking they're the only one going through what they're going through. And guess what? Lo and behold, somebody else has gone through it, has come through on the other side, and has some wisdom to share with you about that very thing. So thanks for joining me. Thanks you for hanging out. And don't forget to, if you're watching on YouTube, my YouTube channel, please subscribe, right? Please subscribe. We are, and if you are on IG, go to Enlightened Woman Enterprise page and follow me there. We are really wanting to grow our footprint as we step into this arena and influence. And the more followers we have, you know how that works, right? The more influence that you have, the more collaboration and connection and sponsorship and all that you can provide, an opportunity and resources for the community. So go, make sure you go to Kelly V. Hayes YouTube channel. We're still in the process of revamping it. Man, can I tell you, that's some amazing thing. Sidebar, in midlife, when you decide to shift the whole trajectory of your life and the priorities and the focus for your life, when you decide to step out on faith and walk fully into your entrepreneurship in midlife, right? You realize how much you don't know, how much things have changed, and when it's all on you to grow this thing and to make it as uh, really helpful as possible and relevant as possible, you got some serious learning curves to do. So we're in the process of learning how to really set up the YouTube page for the broadcast and to expand. I'm so excited about that. And on IG and Instagram, getting ready to start broadcasting live on IG as well. But that's a learning curve too. And so I'm just grateful that y'all hang out with me and you are watching it grow and expand. But I need your help, because when we reach out to do our events and things that will help Black women in this space be able to get that collaboration and connection and support and sponsorship. um, you know, they want to know how many people are watching you. How many people do you have your hands on that will also benefit us? So spread the word. Invite your friends to raise this get me up to at least 1,000 or more. That's not the ceiling, but that's where I want to go for some of the partnerships that we want to have with some of the Black women-owned products, right? We want to make sure we can bring all of that to you and provide opportunities for discounts, right? And impact and access. So just do go to the Enlightened Woman Facebook page, follow that, invite your family, I mean your sisters and your friends to follow. So Facebook, IG, YouTube. Let's blow it up. All right. Can I get y'all to promise to do that for me? Thank you so very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I want to remind you to save the date. September 20th and 21st, 2024 is our Serenity Experience for Women in Midlife. Is happening. We're going back to the Pearl Spot Modern Boutique in Columbia, Maryland. And then we'll also be at the Meriwether Lake House hotel. That's a stone throw from the Pearl. We'll be there on Friday, and then on Saturday we'll be at the Pearl. What better way to come and to have time with yourself, right? Get you a room, get you some girlfriends, come hang out at the hotel, and then meet us on Saturday at the Pearl, which is our actual sacred space. For we will have our opening ritual time. We will have serenity sessions, well, worthy, and wealthy. They will be within those themes: well, worthy, and wealthy. I'm looking forward to sharing you more details on who's going to be coming. But you guys know, if you were there last year, Dr. Marcia Levi was phenomenal. She's already committed to come back, and I'm waiting to hear from a few more um, confirmations, and then we'll be able to share that. But look for more information so you can get and register. It is an intimate gathering. You get to come prior to our start. Go ahead and call now and make you some spa reservations and get you some spa treatments, or take a movement class while you're there, and then join us for our time. We'll get started around 1:30 ish, and we get to close with our private healing water sessions again. But it's just going to be a lot more opportunity for us to really spend some time in conversation and learning and fun. So save the date, put your monies aside, and get ready for the Serenity Experience 2024. Yay! I'm so excited about that. Right. And then, last month we launched the very first fourth Mondays in the meditation room with the Hazes, of midlife marriage conversations. Love is. Yeah. Last month was phenomenal. So look forward to it. Get you and your boo, even if you don't have a boo or a spouse or whatever, but you want one. Yeah. Come join us in the looking forward to it. So this month is Black History Month. Hey y'all. Hey y'all. Welcome to Black History Month. We are celebrating the accomplishments, the resilience, the beauty, and the power of sun-kissed men and women. Those of us who are descendants of formerly enslaved royalty from the continent of Africa. Man, I declare this is my story and I'm sticking to it. America is as great as it is because of our presence, the work, and the creativity of a people who continue to survive and thrive even with odds consistently against us. Wow. It's just so much we can say about that. What can we say about Black women? Yeah. hmm I'm just so proud and grateful to God for who God made us to be. And here's the thing, just because you're for something and celebrating something doesn't mean you're against somebody else, right? We can celebrate um, the accomplishments and the beauty and the amazing sun kiss, and what my husband like to say, God's story in Black people. You can celebrate and honor and acknowledge our contributions to these United States of America, and yea, even the world. And that doesn't take away from anybody else. So it is Black History Month, and it's also the month that we focus on love. Most of the times it's about, couples and romantic love and going out on dates and the chocolates and the gifts and the presents. But I really love the expansion that we now have, that we just talk about love in general, how important love is and how powerful love is. So in this Black History Month and this Love Month, uh, for our Mondays in the meditation room, our episodes this Monday and the next two Mondays is going to be under the theme self love is self care. Last year, this time, I think it was last year. These years are starting to run together. I don't know if it was last year or the year before last. All I remember, it was cold as I don't know what. We did a Minnow Lounge on the Move. If you don't know what the Minnow Lounge is, the Minnow Lounge is also an opportunity and an event sponsored by Like Woman Enterprises, where we either do virtual things online, or we gather together as women. It was birthed a couple of years ago during the Menopause Awareness Month. And on Menopause Awareness Day, we did our very first Minnow Lounge gathering. Man, it was powerful. We did meditation, journaling, sound healing, had amazing conversation, good chocolate and desserts and food, and just bask in the presence of our sisters. And then from there, we jumped to another mental lounge where during the month of February, we did a night of self care at Spiritual Essence Yoga and Wellness Center. And Dana, the owner of it, did a wonderful opportunity of movement of our midlife bodies and some yoga that allowed us to center ourselves and to love on ourselves. And so in the spring, we're getting ready to do some mental lounge, and I'll call them mental lounge on the move, right? Where we go. And what I'm hoping to do is to continue to support Black women owned businesses. And so we're looking forward to a mental lounge on the move spring cleaning opportunity to gather together, and we're in the process of firming that up. So I won't make the announcement till we finish doing that. So I'll be giving out some dates soon for that and some other dates throughout the year. You know, my friend Vanessa Elam was here. Elam Burns, or Vanessa Burns, was here from She Is Free Collective, does healing hikes. We missed our opportunity last year, so we're looking forward to this spring. I think I want to do it for my birthday, and we're inviting you. If you have not done that before, I'm looking forward to it. The healing hikes, and that will be another mental lounge on the move opportunity for us to hang out. So we're doing some things. We're doing some things. Yes, for enlightened women, because it's our time to live and to shine. And I want us to be adventurous, explore, get curious about life, and do some things that you've never done before. How about that? Yeah. All right. So tonight, um, we are moving forward in our opportunity to kick off February under the theme Self Love is Self Care. Loving yourself through the stages of the pause. Self love is self care. Loving yourself through the stages of the pause. Right? I did that one, so I'll put it back up so you can see. Self love is self care. Loving yourself through the stages of the pause. Why? I'm telling you, that is so important. And you might say, why is that important? First of all, self love itself is important, so that you will have um, a grounded sense of self, that you are not seeking your worth or trying to work or earn or perform for love. And I know many of us have gone through experiences, even we could say trauma, or um, our homes or origins, family origins may not have been as healthy. Um, and even if they were, sometimes good environments can also put pressure and stress on you to perform and to be something that may not be the creator's fit for you. And because we are wired to be loved, we will sometimes contort ourselves and, do things that is not in our best interest for love. And I found that the root and the beginning of love is to love yourself. And so we're talking about why that's so important generally and for us in this season, because we've lived a little while in midlife. You lived and you've been through some things, and your psyche and your body remembers some of the things you've been through, and it might not be optimal for your well-being. And some things you may need therapy for, you may need to journal, you may need to find some disciplines that help you process and let go of some things. Because one thing I know for sure, when you hit midlife, when you hit 45, 50, 55, that invisible force of nature, of who you are, that God has created you to be. And when it's time to shift and go through this rites of passage, your body, your mind, and your spirit is going to shift, even if you don't want to, even if you're not ready to. It's going to shift. It is just part of your human anatomy, your humanness, your physiology, your makeup, your spirit. Everything in you knows to shift. Just like the creator made nature to shift, the intelligence within the ecosystems of the planet, within the DNA of seeds, and in the atmosphere, right? And in the skies, the sun and moon, they operate on um, a holy and divine timing and timeline and seasons. And the earth knows when, as the earth rotates around the sun, as it parts of it, and one hemisphere is further from the sun than the other, it creates different um, seasons, right? And the different seasons of the moon does different things to the earth. It is created to operate in its own ecosystem, and so is your body, your spirit, your soul, and your mind is its own ecosystem. Eco might not be the right word, but I'm using it for tonight. In other words, your body is operate. It is a brilliant, intelligent machine, completely connected. There is no separation between your mind and your body and your mind and your spirit and your soul. It is all connected. And when it's time for your body to shift from one season to the other, it's going to do it without your permission. It's going to happen. Literally, your brain is rewiring, your body is rewiring for a different season in your life, for your spirit, soul, mind, and body to shift its priority to another season. Man, can I tell you, you can fight it if you want to. We spend billions of dollars trying to fight it. But this is the season that we want to be our most optimal selves in every area of our lives. And one of the places we need to start is self love. So, this is a perfect opportunity to do that. And why is self love? And here's the thing, self love is self care, because you can get as many manicures as you want, as many pedicures as you want, as many facials as you want, take as many walks as you want, work out, right? You can do all of that. But if your self perception is off, if you don't appreciate your own self, if you don't honor your own being, you will have no joy. You will have nothing wherewith to withstand the continued onslaughts of the world that always tries to conform you or transform you or mold you into something that it can use. And it is often not in your best interest. So you, I'm telling you, have to take a moment and think about, what was the last thing you said to yourself? You can remember. What's the last thing you said to yourself? Was it positive? Was it negative? Was it life giving? Was it affirming? Or was it harsh? Was it judgy? Right? Was it negative? Was it death inducing? And I'm not talking necessarily physically, but your soul and your spirit. You can get an idea of how you feel about yourself by how you talk about yourself. Man, ask me how I know. Yeah, and it's important. And it's not very important of other people's opinion about you. What you believe about yourself is more important than anything else. Do you love and accept yourself? That's the best self-care you can do. You can get a massage 30 minutes, 60 minute, 90 minute, and I am a massage girl, so I love it all. But those are things that we do outside of us to maybe, try to take care of ourselves or present ourselves looking beautiful and all of that. But you can do all of that, and I can do all of that, and still have a low self worth or a low idea of yourself and perspective of who you are. So, this season, let's talk about being in this season and why it's so important. So, I like to, I always have my own uh, um, definition of what something is, but I like this one about self love. It says self love is a state of appreciation for oneself that grows from actions that support our physical, psychological, and spiritual growth. Self love means having a high regard for your own well being and happiness. Self love means taking care of your own needs and not sacrificing your well being to please others. Can I read that again? I feel like I'm in church. Self love is a state of appreciation for oneself that grows from actions that support our physical, psychological, and spiritual growth. Self love means having a high regard for your own well being and happiness. Self love means taking care of your own needs and not sacrificing your well being to please others. And when you can then take that definition and curate it specifically for you, for your life, for your lifestyle, for where you are, what does self-love mean to you? So if you tolerate a certain behavior for so long and now you're saying you're no longer want to tolerate that behavior, that then is an act of self-love specifically for you, for your unique context and being. So we can have a general definition of what self-love is, and then we need to bring it home specifically to us, to our context and to our mindset. What is it in our own life and in our own homes and in our own decisions for how we decide to treat ourselves and what we allow or how we allow other people to treat us? What is it that we may have to do to shift, to change, right? To edit and place some boundaries around our life for our own particular specific way of self-care, right? So, if you have children and they're grown children and they're so used to coming to you to fix things, to save them or whatever, and you might be in that season where you're like, I can't do that anymore. So for you specifically, you might have to create some boundaries around how available you can be and what you want to do for and with your money and your time and your energy, whatever that is. There's a general sense of self-care, and then self-love that is shown by how you care for yourself. That's why we say self-love is self-care, and to me it's the beginning of self-care, right? And so allow yourself some time. You may have to just breathe, get quiet, get still, and have a conversation with yourself about how you feel about yourself. And is there some changes that you need to make in reference to how you treat yourself? Are you nicer to other people, kinder to other people? Do you speak lovingly to other people more than you do yourself? So that's important. And why is it important for Black women in particular? Because historically speaking, in America, we started out as property. There were free women. Some women were not um, part of the slave system for whatever reason. Because I don't want to overgeneralize, but um, generally speaking, if you are a descendant somewhere in your upline, we were brought here as property. to be used and abused as a part of that, and only seen as labor or breeders, right? And we need to know that for some of us, that's still a part of who we are. We have to shake that thought and that history off. But along with that, we are strong, we are resilient, we are survivors. Because it is sometimes unfathomable to me how our people survived. Many of us didn't, but many of us lived fighting to survive. And so we have that history as Black women to be seen as not important, invisible, right? To be used, or not intelligent, or not lovable, or worth loving or saving. And so when we have that as history, and that the standard of beauty and womanhood is not us, and so you're constantly fighting those battles of feeling unworthy and rejected and all of the above, to be able to take some time to counteract all of that and love on yourself just the way you are, and go higher than Madison Avenue, than commercials, than ads, than the fashion industry, than the beauty industry. Go higher than that, to God, because God created you and God said that you were good. So however you are made, whatever your body, however your body is made, to be able to step back, look at that, and not compare it to anything and anybody else, and love it, can be a hard thing to do, but it's a necessary thing to do. So for us as Black women, it is particularly important for us to love ourselves. And we may have to wade through a whole lot of mess and a whole lot of trash and lies to get to the truth of our beauty. Then do it. Whatever you need to do to get to the place where you appreciate yourself and your uniqueness and your beauty, do it. Right? So it's important, and it's incumbent upon us, if we want to be whole and well, is to love ourselves. And that's why it's so important. It is especially important for us, because we have to run faster, jump higher, jump through hoops. But even in the midst of that, the highest percentage of new entrepreneurs are Black women, right? Those who are stepping into political office and the fray of it are Black women, right? And so when you look around the landscape of things, don't believe the lie that we are not smart and or intelligent. The truth be told, most companies, most businesses, most schools, most churches are held together by Black women. I just want to stop right there. Right. I love Lettucey's song, Bravo, Bravo, oh, 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 Bravo. Give yourself a round of applause. If nobody else is going to celebrate you, then celebrate you. But I'm here to tell you, you got a whole tribe. You got a whole community of women here on Mondays in the meditation room and our Enlightened Woman events and the Serenity Experience. You got a sisterhood who's loving on you, who's telling you how beautiful, how smart, how amazing, how necessary you are. So, as you are on this journey to self love, know that there is a sisterhood who's loving on you, who's agreeing with God about how amazing we are, right? So, don't think you're alone. Don't think you got to compete or compare, right? We're not doing that. We don't do that here. And when you love yourself, you have no need to sabotage or compete or pull down another woman, right? We're there. There's enough of everything to go around, right? The lie is lack, but the truth is abundance. And you have an abundance of creativity, of talent, of worth, right? Of gifts to offer the world. So remember that self love is self care, and it's necessary. It's an act of resistance, right? And man, I'm telling you, Some Audrey Lorde saying my self-care is an act of political warfare, right? Your policies and the things that you try to put in place to hold me back and to hold me down is not going to work because I love myself too much to succumb is to your oppressive belief. And the fact of the matter is, y'all, it's really fear. So when you realize that people fear you, that's why they're working so hard to try to convince you that you're unlovable and not worth loving. Remember, right, that people only do that when they're afraid of you or intimidated by you. So go ahead and love your own self, right? So, what difference does that make for women in midlife and in the pause? Because so much is going on in this season. All of this discombobulation and all of the upheaval and the disruption that's happening in your body, in your spirit, and your mind, it can do a number on your psyche when all of a sudden you're feeling um, thinning in your hair, or your skin is drying up, or you got this brain fog and you can't remember like you used to do. You can't focus and you can't concentrate, and things are getting frustrating for you when you may be having trouble sleeping, or joint pains and aches, and you may have vaginal dryness and pain, and all of the things that come along with atrophying because of our decline in estrogen, digestive issues. Oh my goodness. And that's just your body, and that's just a few things, right? That's not everything. Then psychologically you may be dealing with um, some level of depression, frustration, anxiety. You may just have always feel like angry and just on the verge of hurting somebody. All of that is happening all at the same time, and it is anxiety inducing. It can, we don't make light of that. It can be scary, it can be frustrating. You could be having heart palpitations, all of this stuff, and you're going to the doctors and they're like, your vitals are fine, there's nothing wrong with you, but you're fatigued and you're tired, and you can't figure out what is going on. You just don't feel like yourself, you don't feel at your optimal level. And the spiritually, you can start questioning things. You can be having existential crisis. You have to be questioning your faith, and that's the thing about midlife, that transition makes you question everything. Your decisions you've made, you might be looking back over your life and then have a whole period of regret and frustration and feel like you missed it and not have enough time, and you might be wanting to file for divorce. You might you just might want to divorce everything. You might want to pack up your bag and just leave. All of that is happening, and it is normal. It is the calm before the storm of embracing who you are and coming into a place of self confidence and love, and really at ease of self acceptance. And it can take a toll on you because you might begin to feel really weird about what your body is doing. And guess what? Grief is also a part of it because you're losing a part of yourself. Even though you may not even want any more children, the fact that your body is heading towards a season where you won't be able to have any more children. Just because you don't want any doesn't mean you're not going to grieve the fact that that season is coming to a close, and grieving feeling, youth, where you had the perky tatas, and you had the thin waist and all of that kind of stuff. All of those things that you used to be able to feel and do in your 20s and all of that, those things change. However, don't think that you can't feel healthy and strong and vibrant and strong. And some women feel the best they absolutely have ever had, because they are paying more attention to their bodies. And so it makes a difference for women, and in particular Black women. We need to be aware of the fact in our reproductive system, they still have not figured out why we often start puberty earlier than anybody else, and that we often start our perimenopause symptoms much earlier and it lasts much longer, which also can expose us to chronic illnesses like heart disease, or I mean, the danger of high blood pressure, diabetes, all of those things we are susceptible to when our body is dealing with the decline of estrogen. But then there's something else for us as Black women that other races may not have to deal with. And that really is what they call racial weathering. The fact that we have for so long dealt with the onslaught of racial aggression and racism. It affects your body, it affects your psyche, it affects your overall well-being. It can weaken your immune system, it can cause your body to be more susceptible, because you are constantly in a state of stress, that fight or flight, um, that fight or flight position that happens, that's supposed to help you if you're in danger, right? That rush of adrenaline and release of cortisol in your body is to help you to move and to act and to run and to defend yourself, right? But we're not supposed to have that in our system, and we're not supposed to be in that state constantly. And for African Americans, why we are more susceptible, why many of us were more susceptible during COVID, is because our bodies were already worn down and more weathered because of racism. It has a detrimental impact on our minds, our spirits, our souls, and our bodies. And when it is depressed in that manner, everything else becomes more magnified. So for us as Black women, that means what we go through during the pause. And let me pause to say that when we're talking about the stages of menopause, we're talking about in the beginning, it's all connected in the onset of puberty, and then the onset of our menarche or our menses or our period. And then as we grow and mature as young adults and go into that whole season of the opportunity to carry children and motherhood. All of that happens. And then when you hit somewhere between 35 and 45, your body begins to change. And that season is called perimenopause or premenopause. It is heading towards menopause. Menopause itself is only 24 hours. It is that 366th day that you've been without a period. Boom, that's menopause. That's one day. Whatever that day is after a whole year of not having a cycle, that's menopause. The next day after that is postmenopause. So those stages are perimenopause, the season leading up to it, when you can start feeling those symptoms and your body begins to change because of the decrease in estrogen and really testosterone, progesterone, all of that, but more particular for women, estrogen, it begins to affect you. Now, be clear, you can begin to have perimenopause symptoms, but still be in the season of birthing where you can still have children and you may still want to have children. So don't be um, sad or despair. Pray that you have a great doctor, that if you still want to have children, you can find ways to mitigate and manage those symptoms and still get pregnant, have a healthy pregnancy. But as we know, as Black women, that can be very dangerous for us because of the inequities in our health system, because the rate of Black maternal um, um, death has happened because They don't listen. They don't believe we're in pain. They don't pay attention. They don't see the signs when we're in danger, and you literally need to fight for your life in those situations. And so, for us as Black women in this season, we need to be our own best advocate. And that comes through education, right? And walking in our own agency and advocating for ourselves, because you know your body better than anyone else. It's not all in your head. And that doesn't even include dealing with other things through this season, like endometriosis or fibroids, or all of the other ailments that can happen to us as women, specifically because of our female organs, like uterine cancer or cervical cancer, or all of those things that can happen along the journey, on the continuum and the stages of menopause. And so today, I just wanted us to just get started by giving ourselves permission to love ourselves, and not just be in word, but in deed, right? I'm so excited to share these next few Mondays with you, and really as long as the Lord continues to call me into this space. I literally did a certification so that I can be a menopause coach specialist. And can I tell you, the things that I didn't know as I learned, my textbook was at least this thick, and it was so powerful and so freeing. And so I want to share all of that with you, but I wanted to start with self love, self worth, and self care in this month of love, in this Black History Month. As a Black woman, know that you are absolutely loved and wanted and desired and powerful and brilliant and needed and gifted. And we want all of us as a community of sisters to know that it starts with self love. That's the foundation of your self care. Is when you don't think you're worthy and you don't think you're worth it, you won't take the steps that you need to take to make sure that you are taking care of this temple, that you are taking care of your soul, that you're taking care of your spirit and your mind. Woo! Y'all, I feel that thing. And I'm so excited that we are flipping the script, that we're redefining what it means to be in this season of our lives. We may be going through, but we'll find ways to love ourselves through it, right? That means don't push back against it. Flow with it. Find a doctor that is specialized in menopause. Get a therapist if you need to, and come to spaces like this. Come to the Serenity Experience. Come to the Mental Lounge on the Moves when we get together, so that we can teach you. We don't know why Black women experience it in a way, but there's answers and there's things. Everything might not work for everybody, but the things that we're going to talk about and that we're going to teach, and the skills that we're going to share, will help you where you are. And then you may have to design your own well-being regimen and plan of action, so that this will be the shift for you to be in the best shape physically, emotionally, spiritually, and mentally that you can possibly be, as you shift to this season of prioritizing yourself. And it starts with self love. I'm going to close our time because, I've gone a little bit longer than we normally do, but I'm passionate about this and it's important, and I want you to get it. Share this episode with somebody else, forward it to them, email it to them, text it to them, whatever, but share it and come back and watch it yourself too, right? So in my book, The Enlightened Woman, Inspiration and Reflections to Rediscover the Joy of Being You in Midlife and Beyond, um, there is a section, chapter 10, called The Power of Love. But I want to just read this. It says, And it all begins with self love. This is actually the last paragraph, so that's why it starts like that. And it all begins with self love. The starting point to love is not the other, it's the self. We often cling to our love for others like a life raft in the middle of the ocean. It becomes the substitute for loving ourselves. That's like feeding someone else and expecting to get nourished and full. When we do this, our soul will always go wanting because that is too much to expect from another frail human being. Divine self love inoculates you from loving others for the wrong reason. When you love yourself, you love others from a place of divine strength. That's the power of love. So let's enter into this month of February and even the rest of the year in your life, starting with the foundation of knowing you are worthy of love. And it starts with loving yourself. Woo! I absolutely love you. Thank you for hanging out with me. I certainly appreciate you. Don't forget, follow on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube, and follow on IG so that we can create a whole system and community that has all the resources and support we need to honor us as we are, as we rediscover the joy of being who we are in midlife and beyond. Love y'all. Talk to y'all soon. Have a peaceful night. Happy Black History Month for you as women. Love you. Talk to you soon. Bye.